In the beginning, in the lush and beautiful Garden of Eden, all was peaceful. The creatures lived in harmony, and Adam and Eve, the first humans, enjoyed the presence of God, walking with him in the cool of the day. But one day a crafty serpent, more clever than any of the other animals, slithered up to Eve.
Did God really say, "You must not eat from any tree in the garden"?
We may eat from the trees in the garden, but God said, "You must not eat from the tree in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it, or you will die."
You will not certainly die, for God knows that when you eat from it your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil.
Eve's heart began to race as she looked at the fruit hanging from the forbidden tree. It was beautiful, its colors rich and inviting. She thought about the serpent's words. The fruit would not only taste good, but it promised wisdom, power, a kind of understanding that she had never known. She reached up and plucked the fruit from the tree. She hesitated for a moment, then took a bite.
She offered some to Adam, who stood beside her, watching her with a mix of curiosity and trust. Without a word, he took the fruit and ate it as well.
Immediately, something changed. Their eyes were opened and they saw the world in a new, unsettling way. They were naked, their innocence had vanished. Panic washed over them, and they scrambled to cover their bodies, sewing fig leaves together to make makeshift clothes. Then, they heard the sound of footsteps. The unmistakable sound of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. Fear gripped them. They had never known fear before. They hid among the trees, hoping to escape his gaze. God's gaze grew stern. He turned to the serpent and said, "God, because you have done this, cursed are you above all livestock and all wild animals. You will crawl on your belly, and you will eat dust all the days of your life. I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel." Turning to Eve, God spoke of the pain she would now face. "God, I will make your pains in childbearing very severe. With painful labor you will give birth to children. Your desire will be for your husband, and he will rule over you." Finally, God turned to Adam. "God, because you listened to your wife and ate from the tree about which I commanded you, you must not eat from it. Cursed is the ground because of you. Through painful toil, you will eat food from it all the days of your life. It will produce thorns and thistles for you, and you will eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your brow, you will eat your food until you return to the ground, since from it you were taken. For dust you are, and to dust you will return." Adam, now filled with sorrow, named his wife Eve, for she would become the mother of all living. But even in their grief, God showed mercy. He made garments of skin for them and clothed them, covering their nakedness and their shame. But the consequences of their disobedience had only just begun. God spoke once more, this time with a warning. "God, the man has now become like one of us, knowing good and evil. He must not be allowed to reach out his hand and take also from the tree of life and live forever." So, God banished Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden. He drove them out into the world beyond the gates of paradise, where they would work the ground, struggle against the thorns and thistles, and live with the knowledge of good and evil. To protect the way to the tree of life, God placed cherubim, mighty winged beings, and a flaming sword that flashed back and forth, guarding the entrance, ensuring that no one would enter again. And so, the story of the first humans began, a story of beauty, of temptation, of fall, and of exile, a story that would echo through the ages.